Pull knee to chest, lock out your down leg, squeeze your glute, squeeze your quad. Pinch your shoulder blades back as you pull the knee high. Again, try to make sure the down leg is fully locked out. And then pull the shoulder blades back as you pull the knee to the chest. Next, similar, but we're going to open up the hip into some external rotation. So we're going to pull the heel to the opposite hip and then stand tall and pull your shoulder blades back. Again, try to lock out your down leg by squeezing the quad and squeezing your glute. Next, we'll hit our quad and lat. So we're going to pull our heel to the opposite glute. So you're going to grab the heel with the opposite hand, and then you're going to reach tall, trying to cover your ear with your upper arm with your thumb pointed backwards. Again, stance leg is fully locked out. And you're also going to engage your core so that your ribs don't flare out too much. So now we'll go into some hamstring stretching, so a single leg RDL. We're not going to get too picky about pelvic position, but we're trying to stay level at the pelvis and encourage people to drive their back heel up as high as possible, which will push them forward and put stretch into the hamstring on the down leg. Continuing with hamstring work, we'll go into a plank and then ankle walk back towards our hands and hold a double hamstring stretch at the top for a second or two. Trying to keep the knees fairly straight as we walk our feet back towards our hands. Pause and then out into the plank. Final hamstring will be a toy soldier. So we're going to kick our opposite foot to the hand as high as possible. And over the course of a few reps, we're going to get more explosive, more dynamic, and more powerful with those kicks. Now we're going to go into cars, which are controlled articular rotations for the hip. So we're going to pull our knee up and forward and then kick the foot out, rotate around all the way, keeping the knee bent, and then back and down. So that's going forward. And then we'll do a reverse one where we kick back first and then pull the knee up and over like you're stepping over a hurdle. Slow and controlled, trying to minimize how much pelvic motion is going on, trying to make that hip do all the work. Here's from the side, really trying to get that shin parallel to the ground. This is the forward car. Again, CAR stands for controlled articular rotation. And then here's the reverse CAR, kick back first, and then pull the knee up and around. Now we're going to get to our lunge series. So we're going to start with just a forward lunge. We don't want to let that front knee dive in at all. We want to be going down and up through that front heel, okay? So the shin can go forward on that front leg, but we never should see the heel come off the ground. So that's just our forward lunge. And then we'll do a forward lunge with a reach. And here we're just hovering the knee above the ground, really reaching across that front leg, trying to stretch the obliques and hip flexor on the downside. Again, this time we're hovering just above the ground with our knee, but our front heel is still down on the ground. Reach far across and get some trunk lean. Next will be a step back lunge. So you're going to push either to a half step stop, or we're going to go all the way through like that rep into the next lunge. We'll do a couple reps. This one you're being more explosive and powerful off the front foot, so you're driving up and back and reaching right into the next lunge. Next will be our lateral lunge. The trail leg is locked out with the foot flat, trying to drive out of that bottom position without pushing off the back leg at all. So we don't want that back knee to bend and push off with the back leg. So people need to prove their depth. How deep can you go without helping out with the back leg? From the side, you can see that the chest goes quite a bit forward, the hips go pretty far back. That's to remain on balance. And again, the heel should remain down on the front leg. Now we're going to do a curtsy lunge. We're going to step back and twist on the way down and drive up off that back foot. So you step behind with one leg, lower yourself with the front leg, and then drive back up and away with that trail leg. We're just going to awkwardly load the knee and hips a few reps. Now we're going to get into our A skip. So we're putting force into the ground, trying to be powerful. Knees go high, heel goes to the butt. Encourage people to make a lot of noise. We should be stomping loudly into the ground. Just a few reps. And then we're going to skip for height, trying to get a little bit higher. Opposite hand and knee drive, going up and not across the body. And then we'll go right into a high knees. So this is lightly off the floor with the balls of our feet. Knees going high, heels going towards the butt. This should be fairly light, not loud. And then we're going to do butt kickers. So trying to get each heel to each cheek. Again, lightly off your balls of your feet. And then we'll go into a lateral jumps. So we'll do 3 to each side, trying to cover as much ground as possible with each jump. And then we'll do one or two big broad jumps. So we start with a narrow stance and land kind of in a squat stance. Again, start narrow. Use your hands to create counterforce and land wide and soft. So now we're going to grab PVC pipe. We're going to do 5 big passovers, getting the shoulders warmed up. So every member will have their own PVC pipe. So encourage probably 5 repetitions of this. If you shrug your shoulders at the top, you'll prevent some pinching. And then we'll do a crazy kayaker. So one arm will lead, the other will follow. We'll do a few reps each direction. We usually do 5 in class. Again, elbows should remain fairly straight. From there, we're going to work on shoulder extension, which will be a chest stretch, and activate and warm up of the muscles between the shoulder blades and triceps. So we pull back the shoulder blades and then reach high. So first one's right behind your glutes. Next one's a little bit wider, about hip width. Again, this motion is important for any type of push-up, bench press, a dip. And then we get nice and wide. So 3 different spots. Now we're going to work on a lat tricep stretch. So we're going to pull the top hand down pretty aggressively, elbow in towards the ear. That's for the top shoulder being stretched. And then top hand will pull the bottom hand up more gently towards the opposite shoulder blade to work on internal rotation of that down hand. We'll switch. So now the bottom hand is going to pull the top hand down aggressively. Again, elbow in towards ear. Stretch to the lat and tricep, trying to keep the ribs held down. And then less forcefully pull the opposite hand towards the other shoulder blade for internal rotation. Now we're just going to put the dowel across our chest and just warm up a rotational pattern. So this is kind of like a golf swing. So the back foot will come up onto the toe. And we're going to work on internal rotation of that lead hip and get the thoracic spine. So about 10 reps, so 5 times each side. Now we'll go into a hinging pattern with 3 points of contact. So skull, mid, back, tailbone. We're going to have a slight inward curve to the low back. The knees are just unlocked. You're going to go down, keeping all 3 points of contact. The shins should remain vertical. We're trying to create tension in the hamstrings. From the front, you can see I'm pushing my knees away slightly, but not bending them, just driving out to create more tension. After those 3 to 5 reps, and then we'll do the RDL with the PVC pipe. So now the knuckles are turned down, the shoulder blades are pulled back, and we're pulling that dowel into the thighs. It's the exact same movement we were doing with the dowel in the back, but now we're pretending it's a barbell. This helps with deadlifts, cleans, all sorts of different movements. Now let's just go right into our pressing position. So legs are fully locked out, glutes are on, ribs are pulled down with the abs, and we're driving up, head through the window at the top, fully locked out elbows. We don't want to see any arching of the back. We want to get a nice flat spine by squeezing our butt, holding our ribs down. And again, head slightly through the window. This is our finish of any press. Now we're going to a push press with dip and drive. So same finishing position. Now we're using our hips to create that force up quickly. So dip, drive, head through the window. Dip, drive, head through the window. Okay, so no more PVC pipe. Now we're going to warm up our squat pattern. So hands above our gaze. We're going to sit back in our heels. Knees are outside of our stance and a slight inward curve to our low back. Again, heels are down, knees are out, slight inward curve to low back or neutral spine. Those are your 3 checks. Now we're going to squat and do a thoracic rotation. So we're going to post up the elbow on one leg and try to get the other arm vertical, leading with the thumb, looking up at the hand. So this is for thoracic and cervical rotation. I'm a little limited going to the left. It's harder for me to get there, but I'm going to work on it. Then we're going to go into a Y position. Okay, hold that Y. This is kind of an overhead squat position. Really makes the upper back work. Same squat though, heels down, knees out, inward curve, low back, and really trying to keep the arms in line with the torso. I tell people to try to not be able to see their hands at the bottom of that. So now we're going to what's called world's greatest stretch. So the back leg is fully locked out, squeezing the glute. You're going to pull your elbow down to your instep, pulling your chest and hips down towards the floor, but reestablish the lockout on the trail leg and then turn up, trying to get vertical with the arms. They should be stacked, and then the chest should be in towards midline. Again, reestablish the lockout on that trail leg, and now we're going to switch legs. So we call this tripod position. Establish that. Elbow down to instep, squeeze the back leg, and then turn up trying to get vertical. Again, I'm a little off there, but some people look better than me. Trying to correct my position while I'm down there. I've still got some work to do and stand back up. So that's world's greatest stretch. Now we're going to get into a plank, an active plank. So we're trying to do hollow body here. So pushing the shoulder blades away, get up on the tippy toes, squeeze your butt, pull your abs in, and we're trying to get out of any inward curve at the low back. We actually want to flatten that spine out. And then we'll go into 3 hand release push-ups. Hands release, stay strong core. We should see the hips and shoulders rise at the same time.